But I mean, live PD is just like that's like crazy watching that on YouTube. I think my favorite department so far I think is in Georgia. It's in like some county in Georgia.
That sounds interesting.
And
bye, guys.
I can't remember.
Thank you so much, Jimmy and Grace.
I can't remember what part of Georgia it was in, but it was just like the wildest stuff too. Like it was so weird.
Georgia has some crazy shit that happens sometimes. I don't remember. I don't keep to date on all of it, but
well, it's crazy that like the show kind of goes like follows like the South and then like parts of the West.
Oh, okay.
I think because they do it like in South Carolina, Georgia, Texas, Florida, I think Louisiana, Montana, I think Missouri, Utah, and I think in California. Like there's a good amount of states covered in that show.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like some material to work with for sure. Like there's got to be at least one crackhead in every county, I would think. So that's a whole lot of material right there. It's a whole lot of people there.
I mean, if it's not a crackhead, it's probably like somebody who's like
beating their wife or something like that.
Beating their wife
or their kids, or
weed,
like just beating off in general, and like in front of a store or something.
Or somebody
like that.
stole something. Like it's just all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. What's the craziest thing you've seen on that show so far?
I don't know. The dude with like I think he had like 34 pounds of marijuana in his trunk.
Wow.
I think he was coming from Chicago.
Damn.
And he was just this was in Utah. The dude had like 4 duffel bags full of just straight weed, dude.
Wow.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, I got nothing in the car." Like,
well, that's a damn lie.
And he just like he stands there so quietly for a minute, and he's just like, "Oh, I done messed up." Like,
oh my god, he's like giving the crying
this
speech.
is not good.
Yeah.
And the officer's like, "What do you have on you?" And dude's still not talking, and detains him and all that stuff, and finds the 4 duffel bags in his trunk, and he takes everything out and puts them in these big they're like trash bags on like steroids. Like they're probably about the size of like tapestries or something.
Wow.
Like that big. And he just like fills like 2 of them full of weed. And he's like, and he's just looking at this. He's like, "Oh yeah, we probably got maybe about 34 pounds." Like he eyed that, dude. Like
wow.
Like that was like
either that or he knew what he was carrying. Like, my God, if you're gonna have that much, I would hope.
I feel like the dude driving
the
car didn't even like know how much he had on him. I feel like.
Yeah, no, that's. I mean, I would never think that I was carrying
it's just
34 pounds.
That's probably the craziest thing I've seen so far on there. Like I've just. Like, it's crazy that, like, somebody was there on camera to catch it, too. Like, I feel like if you're, like, getting pulled over, like, that would be the last thing that I would want to see. Like, if you have, like, serious stuff on you and somebody's there, like, filming the police officers, like, breaking stuff in your car to look for, like, hidden compartments and stuff, like, I would be so embarrassed.
Yeah, oh, my God, man. And, like, it's such a soul-crushing experience probably because, like, yeah, they put them in such distinct, creative spots in their car. And you would never think in a million years that anyone would have to pull you over and just have that happen and have your secret exposed to not only a cop, but, like, to cops probably all over the world.
And the millions of viewers of, like, A&E shows and stuff, too.
So you got the critics from A&E calling you a son of a bitch, and that doesn't feel too good. You got, like, all those people that watch A&E and all that kind of stuff.
They probably look at all of that and think, like, "Oh, this is going to, like, bring in so many new viewers."
Yeah. But then there's also people that are, like...
Viewership is going to rise.
There's also people There's also people that just say, "Damn, I wish Gene Simmons' Family Jewels would come back on."
I honestly do.
That's what I'm saying, honestly.
I watched a little bit of that show the other day, and like I actually liked that show.
I have not seen it in a while, but yeah, it was, dude, that show, because, okay, for everybody who doesn't know, Kiss is my favorite group of all time. They're the reason that I got into music, and they were my first concert, and my dad has always been, like, a Kiss fan, too. So we very much bond. Yeah, we bond over Kith. And So when we heard that there was a reality show with Gene Simmons in it, we're like, holy crap, this is like perfect. So
This is my dream come true. I get to
Yeah.
watch Gene Simmons
And-
every Thursday.
well, I think it was more so the fact that it was on A&E for some
Whenever it
reason.
was
Like,
on.
yeah, my dad was a fan of A&E for a little bit, or at least when I was living at home, he would like always have A&E on for some reason or another. But
There's been some like quality television to come out of that that station though, like Beyond Scared Straight.
yeah, and Addicted or Intervention, is that the show that?
Intervention, yeah.
Yeah,
I think
Intervention.
Yeah, that one's really good. That had the meme of the crying.
No,
guy.
what was the one with the people? Storage Wars.
Storage
Yeah.
Wars is on there as well. Yeah, I think that's why my dad would watch A&E, because I think he watched Storage Wars a lot, and I never understood it. But and I still don't. But God bless you if you watch it. And but no, Gene Simmons Family Jewels, man, that was a crazy show. I mean, it wasn't necessarily so crazy, but to see how like
Gene Simmons is still a prick. But
oh yeah, I mean, what are you gonna
I mean
do?
that hasn't changed.
the
But
the guy's gonna bed 1,000 women and not smoke weed. I don't know. I don't trust that. Like
he's
if you're,
definitely smoked before, dude.
I
feel
think,
like he's
yeah.
had to.
he's always been on this like anti-drug and alcohol thing, but I feel like he's just bullshitting. And I don't know. I mean, maybe he isn't, but he's definitely not the coolest member of Kiss. I will say that. But
who
yeah,
do you think is the coolest member of Kiss?
man, I think it's a tie between. Oh my God! Well, there's coolest, and then there's my favorite members. That's how I see
Okay.
it. So I think the coolest member by far, Paul Stanley. I think he's
Yeah.
got the
Okay.
right balance, because Gene Simmons is all spitting blood, giving a show, all that kind of stuff, and there's no. I mean, you listen to his solo records, and it's not that good. Like, it's not good.
I
So
don't think like any of those. They put out 4. Each of them had.
they
a
put
solo
out
album,
4
right?
solo albums within the time that they were in. Well, yeah, at one point in Kiss's history, because I'm a big Kiss historian, not just a big fan of their music, but there was one point in the 70s where Paul Stanley, Peter Criss, Gene Simmons, and Ace Frehley were all still in Kiss, but they decided to put out solo albums at the same time, just to get out music. And I think out of all those albums, the 2 best ones were Ace Frehley's and Paul Stanley's.
Right, because the
Right.
guitar player knows how to write music.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
guitar player. I mean,
Generally.
yeah. And like Peter Criss, his album was more jazzy, I guess, and that was okay, but I just didn't resonate with it. And Gene Simmons was just. It sounded like a weird attempt at being a Beatle. Like, it was really... There were some softer songs, and Gene Simmons just cannot sing soft songs. I don't know what it is, but he tries to, and it doesn't work. But yeah, I think Paul Stanley has always had the... I think... Danny has to turn on the vape pen. I've always thought that Paul Stanley had the perfect medium of giving a show and having good songwriting abilities.
I can feel that. Yeah.
Because he put out that solo album in the 70s, which I think is a really good album. He also put out Live to Win, which was his like 2000s album. I don't know. Music in the 2000s was always kind of hit or miss, but
I wouldn't
think-
say that.
well, not all of it, but some. I don't know. I guess I'm thinking of bands that were popular in the 70s and 80s and still trying to make music in the 2000s.
they were like trying to stay relevant.
The relevance.
I can agree with you.
Especially with the 80s groups. The 80s groups all tried to put out stuff from the 2000s, and some of it's good and some of it's bad. But yeah, I've always thought that Paul Stanley's style, at least, has stayed relevant for a good amount of years, and I think it's like kind of rode the waves of popularity, but also still putting out like rock and roll that he
Yeah,
likes. And
that's true.
And he also, I don't know, I'm being subjective or objective, but I think he looks better than Gene Simmons. I think he looks like a rock star compared to Gene, who like just looks like a businessman. I've always appreciated Paul Stanley's vibe more so than anyone else in Kiss.
Well, I feel like you can see it too. Like Paul Stanley doesn't like carry himself like a businessman like Gene Simmons does. Like you can just see a picture of Gene Simmons. Like he's got his hair all done. He's wearing like a suit. He's got his black glasses on. Looking
Yeah.
all smug. And then Paul Stanley's out here with like the scarf. his hair
Yeah,
up,
the
he's got
scarves,
sunglasses
man.
on.
Like very
Like,
few
he just carries himself like, like I'm not trying to take myself too seriously.
Very
You
few
know?
people can pull off the scarf look, and Paul Stanley can pull that off. And still, like in his like 60s or 70s, I guess he is now. And he's also putting out a soul album. I heard about this. His band Soul Town or whatever. He's putting out some kind of album with like soul music, and I'm really excited for that. So I just think he's always been more of a musician than Gene and all that kind of stuff. I also like Ace Frehley because he's just a partier.
Yeah, I would have to
and-
say Ace Frehley was probably my favorite member of Kiss.
But he also charges like ridiculous amounts for VIP like meet
yeah,
and greets
that's
and shit
pretty
like
dumb.
that.
But
I just don't see the point. Like I don't know. I think and Ace Frehley, in my opinion, is nowhere near as popular as Paul Stanley, unfortunately. But he was a good guitar player. He is a good guitar player, and his guitar playing was distinctive in the 70s. So I like him because of that and for that reason. But my favorite member of Kiss all time is the late great Eric Carr. Eric Carr
yeah.
played for Kiss in the
Yeah.
80s. He was the drummer, and he was on Lick It Up. He was on Creatures of the Night. He was on he was on The Elder, which he was on.
Does anybody actually like The Elder? Because
Nobody talks about The Elder.
Yeah,
We're not
nobody
gonna.
talks
We don't
about
have to
that.
talk about The Elder. We really don't. I think it's okay, but yeah, like Eric Carr, I think he just like his drumming fit Kiss music so perfectly because it was so. He played with double bass drums or double kick, I guess, and that I think was like what Kiss was going for in the '80s more so, and the early, and like the late '70s that he was on. So and also Creatures of the Night is arguably my favorite Kiss album. I like
Really?
that one. Yeah, I like it because it has that good mix of metal and rock, and it was before they got.
I don't know, dude. I think Destroyer would probably be my favorite Kiss album.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Or their first one. Their first one is still
First one
really,
is
really
that
good.
has all the classics on it. Honestly, like they could have done that and then another album and whatever. But
I like the live albums, but that's just my personal taste.
yeah, like the live albums, the songs definitely sound better on the live albums. I would say because they did not have good mixing back in the '70s. It didn't sound like it at least. Like Bob Ezrin, I guess. I mean, I guess he was good, but even Destroyer kind of sounds. I mean, Hotter Than Hell sounds way worse than Destroyer in my opinion, as far as like production goes. So they definitely got better with production, but yeah, the live albums, they always sounded better to me. Like they were the best sounding albums that Kiss always had, in my opinion.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
I,
yeah, and
I can agree with that.
And going back to Eric Carr, he's always like this is how big of a fan I was. I bought an Eric Carr DVD. They had a documentary because he died of cancer in the 90s, and that's a crazy loss. So he was on a lot of albums. He made a lot of music and a lot of songs that I liked from Kiss, and he always just seemed like a really nice guy, and was always a cool dude to meet. So I wished I would have met him.
So is
basically.
this like a was this just like chronicling like everything he did outside of Kiss too, or was it just his time with
he
Kiss?
he did an album. He did a solo album, I guess, in the 90s that was like, I guess, unfinished. It may have been finished, but it came out after he died. And the DVD talks about that briefly, but it mostly talks about his life before Kiss and getting into Kiss and how he found out about his cancer and all that kind of stuff. So
Interesting.
But he seemed like he was a really cool. And my favorite musicians are always the ones that I feel like I want to meet one day. That's why I love Freddie Mercury, Frank Ocean. Who else? Action Bronson. Not Chuck Berry. Because I don't want to shit on a glass table. But yeah, just most of my favorite musicians are musicians that I would hope to meet one day or won't be able to meet because they're dead.